The last thing we're going to look at in Chapter 13 is colloids. A colloid is any type of solution in which you have very tiny particles suspended within some kind of medium. The medium could be water, it could be air. If you take little tiny particles like maybe chalk dust particles, bang some chalk erasers together, those chalk dust particles float around within the air, that's called a colloid. Or you take some milk, put it into a little bit of water, stir it around, the milk suspends itself within the water, floats around in the water, that's also called a colloid. One way to test whether or not something is a colloid is by something called the Tyndall effect. In the Tyndall effect, what happens is you shine a light through the colloid, so through the floating dust particles, and it allows you to see the light beam. All right, this is called scattering, whenever you can see the light beam. There are lots of different types of colloids. Notice that there are also a lot of different types of dispersion mediums and dispersion substances. Don't worry too much about looking at this chart. That's just some examples. Colloids can be either hydrophobic or they can be hydrophilic. A hydrophobic colloid, let me do hydrophilic first. A hydrophilic colloid is one that will interact with water molecules, while hydrophobic is scared of, it has a phobia, if you want to say it, of water molecules, so it doesn't want to interact with those water molecules. Sometimes, though, it still can if it adheres ions to its surface, and that will give it some hydrophilic ends and allow it to interact with the water molecules. If you want to remove colloid particles from a solution, the best thing to do is just wait, because after a while it is going to settle out. This is often referred to as coagulation. There are ways to cause this to happen a little faster. You can heat it up. The increased movement causes the colloid particles to interact with each other more, and when they interact with each other more, they tend to attach to each other, get a little heavy, too heavy to suspend in the solution, and they sink. You can also add some electrolytes, which will neutralize those surface charges, letting them come together, letting them sink down. All of this will remove the colloid particles and separate out your solute from your solution. You can also use a semi-permeable membrane, which will allow some of the particles through, like your sol vent through, and will keep the solute separate.